we always played synthesizers and drums, but we really liked the energy of rock and roll music, you know. So when we first started out doing what we were doing as the presets, we were almost trying to play rock and roll music, but with dance music instruments, you know. So I think we like the sound of dance music, but we really like the energy and excitement of rock and roll.
The energy, yeah, the energy of the sort of music that we like is sort of rock and roll. And it's sort of like when you sort of think of other bands that are sort of more techno, like Daft Punk or The Prodigy or the Chemical Brothers, they do have a really intense, aggressive rock and roll feel to them, but it's sort of more techno. And I think that's kind of where we're coming from, but maybe more in a band way, you know, more of a live sort of thing. So yeah, I guess, I mean, but within techno as well, there's always been really hard music, which is just as aggressive as punk. So it's never really been much of a distinction for us. It's just all about the right energy.
I mean, we wanted to make music to make people dance, you know, first and foremost. And whenever we were writing the music, if, you know, our one kind of rule was it had to feel right for us and had to make us want to dance. And we knew that if it felt right and, yeah, did that, then we knew that it was something worth pursuing and finishing. And yeah, so it's definitely dance music, yeah. The funny thing is, I think our look, or the image of our artwork and the image of our film clips, I think maybe even we, to some respects, we don't care. We have fun, and when you see, like, we have friends in other bands, you know, in Australia and stuff, and they spend so much money on their videos, you know, and they have this really slick looking videos, so expensive, that it looks so boring. And for us, we have, you know, hardly any money to play with at all, so we try and do something that's really fun and a bit carefree. And we've tried to do that with all our image thing, you know, just have fun and be a bit silly with it, and not try too hard, you know, and not care too much. And I think it's worked out as a very strong look in the end.
The more and more places that we go to around the world, the more I feel like we come from Sydney, and there is a scene there. Like, there is a real carefree attitude in some of the clubs, and one club in particular called Bang Gang, and it's just really fun. And every time we play there, the kids have this energy that's just so sort of unlike anywhere else. And so yeah, I think the Sydney Dove definitely does play a huge part in what makes our show or our expectation of an energy great.
It's funny though, yeah, but that's true. There's a really good, healthy scene in Sydney. But at the same time, when we were growing up and when we first met and we were making music, we hardly looked to Sydney at all. You know, there might have been 2 or 3 bands really from Australia that really influenced us. Most of the music we really loved was always from overseas, you know. I think we always considered ourselves, we always wanted to aim to be an international band, you know, not an Australian band, you know. We always were looking over here, you know, to Europe especially.
We generally, I mean, there's a couple of different ways. The one way that is probably working the best for us is if we just sort of step down there and start playing out something like a groove idea that feels really good, and then we'll flesh it out into a song, you know, make a verse and a chorus and whatever, and then so that's probably like the basic demo of the song, and then we'll start like coloring it up with different instruments and trying to add as many different sort of sounds to it as possible to make it sort of a bit more unique.
We get the beats and the synths, and then I just sort of listen and start spitting out anything, and that eventually starts turning into lyrics that have a bit of an idea. And often it's better just to let the listener or you know, just think up your own story. Because it's funny, people always say, oh, I love this song, I think it's about this or this, and often it's very different from what I thought, you know. So I think it's better to let the listener have their own associations with it. Well, it sounds a bit philosophical, but music is nothing unless someone is listening to it, you know. That's when it exists, so it's better to have it in their head than mine. Yes! That was easy. Get out of that one.